Hello and welcome back to Mr. Wicklam's virtual math classroom, where today we're going to be continuing with our patterns in algebra unit, and we're going to look at predicting the gap, and we're going to look at more rules for t-tables. So for grade 5s, this would be like part 3. For grade 6s, this would be part 2. But this is important because it does have real life applications that we are going to get into a little bit later. But first, I want you to take a look at example 1. So EX1, that means example 1. You're going to need to know that because your Google Docs questions, you're going to have to do an answer. And in it, what we have, and it's going to look kind of similar to you because you're going to have to find the gap. Okay? But in it, what it's saying is we need to multiply by 4 and add 3. This is the rule. So what does that really mean? Well, what that really means is that we need to multiply the input by 4 and then add 3 to get the output. So if we multiply the input by 4, so let's do that. Well, I'm going to do it down here. 1 times 4 equals 4. And then what's it say? Add 3. So plus 3 is going to give us 7. So our output would be 7. We do the same thing to the second number. We multiply it by 4. Because that's what it says. Multiply by 4, add 3. Multiply by 4, 2 times 4 is 8. We add 3, 9, 10, 11. We do the same thing for number 3. 3 times 4 is 12. And we add 3 and we get 15. So it's pretty clear that you can kind of see what's happening to our gap. Each time we are going up 4. Okay? So, do I even need to do the last one? Probably not, because I know that 15 plus 4 is 19. But let's use our equation. 4 times 4 is 16, plus 3 is 19. So, what is the gap? What is the gap in this question? The gap is 4. That's what we're going up by. The gap is plus 4. Okay, so we had a rule. We followed the rule, right? And we did it, and we got our gap. Our gap is 4. Now, you're going to have to do that answer on Google Docs. It's going to be a question in example 1. What was the gap? And you're going to have to answer that question on Google Docs. Now, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're going to be doing a little bit different because we're going to be given the input and we're going to be given the output. And then what we need to do is we need to take our gap and we're going to have to do two different operations, two different math operations to get the output. We're going to have to either multiply and add or multiply and subtract. Okay, that's what I have written down here. And so we're going to take a look at the input and the output. So you can see 1 and 5, 2 and 8, 3 and 11, 4 and 14. Okay, so this is example number 2. And so there's 4 different steps that we need to accomplish to find out what we are doing here. And so the first step is to find the gap. We know what the output is, so we already know how much it's going to go up by each time. And 5, 6, 7, 8, so it's going to go up by 3. 8, 9, 10, 11, it's going up by 3 as well. Now, step number 2. What we need to do is we need to do our first math operation. So our first math operation is to multiply the input with the gap. Multiply the input with the gap. Well, 1 times 3 equals 3. 2 times 3 equals 6, because what we're doing is we're multiplying the input times the gap. This is the gap right here. And we're just multiplying the two together. So we're multiplying the input times the gap. Okay? 3 times 3 is going to give us 9. Okay? Now what you're going to notice is that it doesn't match up with our output. Okay? Because in step number 3, what it asks is what do you need to add to get the output? Now what we are going to add is something called an adjustment factor. Okay, an adjustment factor. So the input times the gap, I got 3, 6, and 9. What am I going to add to get the output? What is my adjustment factor going to be? Well, I know I have 3. I need to get to 5. What am I going to add? So 3, just count up. 3 to 5. 4, 5. So I'm going to add plus 2. And that's going to give me my output of 5. 6 plus 2 gives me my output of 8. 9 plus 2 gives me my output of 11. Okay? So when we add or when we subtract, it's called the adjustment factor. You're going to need to know that for Google Docs questions, for sure. And last but not least, step number 4, what we need to do is we need to write the rule. So the rule for this is we are multiplying the input by 3, which was the gap, correct? And we are adding 2, our adjustment factor. Now, a real life situation where you're going to encounter this, you're going to be like, Mr. Wicklum, why do I need to know this? Why do I need to know how to do this or how to figure this out? Well, there's a simple reason. The reason I can come up with, and a real life application for me, is an investment, is a monetary investment. What's going to happen is they're going to predict a model that it's going to, if you input so much money, it's going to grow to a certain amount. Now, with that investment, there's always an adjustment factor because the markets always change. They go up and they go down, and interest rates go up and interest rates go down. And so what's going to happen is that investment either makes money or that investment loses money. So you put in money, you multiply it by what's already in there, and so you have that money and it's increasing over time. And what happens is it either makes more money or it loses money. There's an adjustment factor in there, and then that gives you how much value you have in that investment. Okay, so real life terms is an investment. Also, it could be we got Spirit Week coming up and we need pancakes. Okay, so we might say that there is, I need to make 1 box of pancakes is going to make enough for 5 people. All right, now I may need to know how many pancakes I can put on a griddle, so I can put 3 on the griddle, and then I need to adjust that because I need to make them a little bit smaller and adjust it so that I can get to the 5 people mark. So I'm going to adjust it by 2 pancakes so I can get to 5. Okay, so you can either use that or you can use the real life investment problem, but either way, that's where you would use this kind of thinking. It's further on down the line, but it's good that you know how to use 2 different operations in order to figure out the output. If you have any questions, as always, feel free to ask. This is Mr. Wicklum, signing off.